Hey everyone, it's your boy Doc Williams, and I'm going to be showing you the 4 hustles that you can be doing from your phone. Number 1, being a community moderator or community manager. And you can be doing that if you're going to be using Discord or Slack. There are a number of communities that run their entire paid community using Discord or Slack. And businesses need help having the right kind of engagement and making sure that everyone's acting appropriately and everyone's getting the right kind of resources. You could be doing that from your phone. We see this a lot with Web3. One's doing this for DAOs. That just stands for decentralized autonomous organization, and that has to do in the crypto space, or just other communities run their entire community using Discord, Slack, or Circle. And you could be moderating or being a community manager from your phone. To get started to be a moderator, what I would do is first start understanding what Discord is, creating an account, and start joining different Discords. This can be found even if you're looking for different creators from Twitch or YouTube streams. A lot of people have their own Discord. Or if you're looking at other organizations such as Midjourney that has to do with AI, you can join their Discord and see how it is or see how it operates and then get a feel for it and start pitching in. To become a moderator, a lot of times they're looking for the most active members and ones that really understand the culture. You understand the right kind of memes, the emojis that really make sure that it aligns with the community. That's where you would start becoming a moderator. Regarding a manager, then that can be also if you're really interested in the community and you're great at organizing community events or doing something like that. That's great proof that you can be a community manager. And if you either look at different job postings on Indeed and things like that, or most likely if you're really active, there's going to be the admins that are going to reach out to you to see if there's a compensation, either a paid position or compensation in other ways that you can be a part of, either if you're part of a DAO, a treasury, so you're getting some kind of crypto or some kind of thing in return, but it just depends. But this is a great starting point to get involved and to have a paid position. Number 2, becoming an editor. Now, this can be if you're going to be an editor for a writer, but also if people are trying to create content, you might need to edit just the flow of what they're trying to create. So you don't necessarily have to be great at grammar in English or anything like that. You can always use tools like Grammarly to make sure that you're getting the general grammar correct for the document, but really you could be another set of eyes to make sure people are getting the right kind of content. Or you can be a content editor where you're now focused on the story or the content quality for someone, and you can either ask them follow-up questions, especially if they're really close to the subject but they're not used to presenting it for beginners. Now you can be a content editor and you can allow them to have a fresh eyes on the process or this industry that will help you succeed. And you can be doing that. A content editor, you can offer your services on Fiverr, Upwork, or be really niche. You can be a content editor for startups that are releasing new products and they need people that are just fresh eyes, and you can charge them for that as well. Now, the pricing, it really depends if you're charging amount of words that you're reading over. But if it's content editor, if you're going for being a content editor, you can also just charge per gig or per job. So if you're going to be looking at a certain product, the product scope or the release, you can just charge per project and not per word. And I would go for per project instead of per word to really maximize your time and energy. To get started, if you feel like, well, I don't think I'm a great fit, look to be helpful. This can be in any kind of job, either an influencer or a startup. Start offering your feedback and explain why you're offering this feedback. You can tell them why it's confusing, and then they're going to trust your opinion. If you give them reasons why you're going to be doing this, and then you go from there. In the comment section down below, let me know if you've ever heard of a content editor. Have you done this job before? Number 3, becoming a project manager. Now, you can do this if you're an executive assistant or a VA, but you can specialize in being a project manager, and it really depends on the scope and size of the project. It really depends on you. Now, the reason I bring that up is a lot of individuals or brands They might be already doing great sales, but they just are terrible at executing projects and keeping basically the balance of freelancers, or just keeping on track of deadlines and everything like that. That's why you can be a project manager for hire, or they call it fractional project managers. And that allows you to, again, go in and charge per project or whatever you would like, or a certain amount of time to manage getting to the finish line of a product or service launch. Ones that have transferable skills as being a secretary or doing VA work, this is perfect, because a lot of times it's asking very specific questions to make sure everything's in line, and then following up and executing. Either you're going to be executing, or making sure that you're following up with the right people to make sure that they do the job. It could even be the business owner themselves. They might just need accountability for someone to be like, I need you to sign off on this, or create this content, or record this video, or take this picture of yourself. And they just need someone to make sure that they're systematically following through. And that's what a project manager can do. Really depends on the scope and how big of a project, but I would start off small, where someone's just trying to launch possibly like an email campaign or something like that. You could always, if you're skilled at sending out emails, it could be on MailChimp, Gmail, it doesn't matter. You could just help them, hey, we're going to send out a certain amount of emails, or just structure them to do that. But really, project management can be any kind of task that needs to be done. And a project is just a series of tasks that you're going to organize to get to a final result. Keep in mind, the hardest thing about project management is it's like herding cats, and there's a lot of personality and a lot of deadlines to deal with this. So you have to deal with people's different personality. You need to know what motivates them, how you can need to talk to them, but also hitting the deadlines and making sure you have good communication skills. That's perfect, because I find that a lot of people fail in this aspect if they promise one thing. They're like, oh, we'll finish it by Friday, and then it takes you an extra 3 days. It just messes everything up, and then the trust is off. So if you have really good communication and let them know ahead of time before it's not late, then you can succeed. So even if it's it ends up taking 2 weeks longer, if you're already prepping them, even at the beginning stages of saying, hey, I'm looking at this timeline, I don't think 2 weeks is reasonable, or I actually think it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks, and then you come in ahead of schedule, that's perfect. People love that. So those are the main hardships or things that you have to deal with project management. But if you can crush that, people will love you forever, and you're gonna get so much business from this. And really, from Asana, using Basecamp, using Slack, you can do this all from your phone and manage project management. If you're just getting started with project management and you're thinking about how much you get started, I would charge per project, scope out the project, understand what it entails to finish, and see if you have the capabilities to manage something like that, or have the skills to execute in this. If you feel like it's too overwhelming, make it a smaller portion, right? So break up the project, say, hey, this will take several projects. I'm going to start with project 1. Here are the deliverables. We're going to start from A, we're going to get to B, and then we can reevaluate if we want to continue this relationship. And you just price accordingly. Think about not only the hours that you're going to be putting in to manage, but think about the time it takes, the bandwidth to just think about project management, and thinking about you're also problem solving through it. So think about how much you're charging per hour, how much your hourly rate is, and then probably add 20%. And that's a good starting point, just to make sure you don't go into the red, and then you're just spending so much time and energy, and then you're like, it's not even worth it. So make sure that you add another 20, and remember, make it a smaller commitment. And then if it goes really well, expand. I would not start out with a project that takes several months, potentially, because then you could get burned out. And depending on the demeanor of the person, if they're really hard to work with, I add another 15%. If you're going with like the initial assessment call and they're already getting on your nerves, add another 15%. So you're adding a total, again, of 35%, 20 on top, just to make sure you're covered, another 15 if they're hard to work with. So you have peace of mind. If you don't, you're going to hate it and you're going to be like, I can't wait until this job is over. So if you already start thinking about those things, you're going to be successful with project management. The last option, it's a sneaky one, but think about different seasonal jobs that you could be doing, such as managing a fantasy football team. You can be doing this for managing fantasy baseball, basketball, it doesn't really matter. And you see that this is a real thing, that there's gigs on Fiverr, people are doing this. I've had it done because I was in a league for years and I didn't feel like playing, but I've done it for 15 years. So I paid someone for the season, 135. They just managed my football team weekly and I love it. They even gave me notes. So it would be like water cooler talk. So I could just pretend like I knew what was going on. So they just sent me a Google Doc every week to tell me what was going on in the league. Loved it. So that's one option to do. Look, they have 51 in the queue. It's a big thing. The other thing is, a lot of people, if you want to take inspiration, look at the fantasy footballers. They offer Google Sheets, how to draft, do all of these things, and just keeping up with the league. You could be doing that too. If it's not just football, but if it's a niche sport, you can be offering, you could model something similar to what they're doing and offer it for your own, for people that love it. You could do cricket, you could do esports, whatever it is, and you're just maintaining it. When they first started this, their first version of managing all of the players, they did it with a Google Sheet. You can actually say that. Now they have their own app, but this is years later, but they started with a Google Sheet. You can do the same thing. When you're doing something like this, it's going to take a couple hours a week. If you already like the sport, I'd just probably do it during the pre-games or something like that, and then just start managing the teams. Those are the 4 hustles that you can be doing from your phone. In the comment section down below, which one would you choose? And which ones have you tried before? If you like these kind of videos, make sure that you like and subscribe. I do this every single week. And make sure that you follow me on Twitter, _Doc Williams, or on IG, Brand Factory Inc., all one word. I'll see you in the next video.